the touch of this man's hand saved your life, you be the judge. All on this edition of the Crier Report. But what if someone really did possess the ability to heal with the power of touch? My next guest claims he can. In the early 1970s, then budding musician Dean Kraft says that he discovered he had some very special talents, which included psychokinesis, clairvoyance, and more importantly, the ability to heal the terminally ill by laying his hands on them. He describes his experiences in his new autobiography, A Touch of Hope. Welcome, Dean Kraft.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
I want to start with a story because you're not the child prodigy in this arena that found at 3 or 4 or 5. All of a sudden, something occurred when you were 22 that opened this door for you. What was it?
Well, basically, I was a non-believer. Very skeptical guy. I was in the music business. I was managing a music store, and I had several interesting experiences. One of them happened when I heard an auto accident in front of the store, and I ran out and I saw a woman get hit by a car. And for the first time, I just wasn't what you call an onlooker, rubbernecker, just taking a look. I felt this urge, this compassion to run through the crowd and to cradle this woman and to take the hair off her forehead and sit there and wait for, you know, the ambulance to come. And when they came, they basically diagnosed her with broken bones, and they said that, you know, she was in serious condition. They got a slat stretcher. They took her away. The next day, I just couldn't get her out of my mind. I called the local hospital to find out that this woman was released with minor cuts and bruises. Now, I don't feel I have anything at all to do with that at all. But that was just one of the instances that made me realize that maybe something's going on with myself. And it was only like 2 years after that, after working on a number of other people, that I realized that I might have a gift.
Everybody's going to say, I want proof, I want proof. This sounds very skeptical to me. What are some of those cases you can point to where doctors, others have confirmed you've done something?
Well, I work with people with pancreatic cancer. And I work with them, and after, you know, a number of sessions, they don't have it anymore.
Spontaneous remission? What
well,
about that?
It could be, well, pancreatic cancer. There's not too many instances of spontaneous remission with pancreatic cancer. I work with Lou Gehrig's disease. Many people, including a woman by the name of Nelda from Virginia, and she was quadriplegic. She had 6 weeks left to live. She gave away her clothes. She picked out her burial clothes. I started working with her. I helped her breathing automatically, and then within a couple months, I started getting her fingers to move, her toes to move. Within 6 months, I had her on a walker, and within 9 months, she was free of the disease.
When you say work with someone, what does that mean?
Well, lay on of hands. I do lay on of hands work, and basically, I work with the head and neck area and certain other parts of the body, and I try to stimulate their own natural healing system in their body through touch. It's not the power. This is not the power of prayer. It's not the power of suggestion. There's just something that I do to stimulate another person's own healing system. And these are people that have all exhausted medical science. I believe in medical science very much. These are people that are told, go home and prepare your will. Learn to live that you're going to die. These are the people that I see. Many are referred to by medical doctors. And I've subjected myself to medical and scientific investigation for 25 years. In 1975, in Lawrence Livermore Laboratories, they gave me cancer cells in test tubes and flasks. I was able to hold the flask in my hand and destroy many of the cancer cells in the flask.
Tell me why. Why you?
I'm still searching for that. I don't know why me. I have no idea. Sometimes I feel I'm the least person in the world that should have this gift. But after 25 years of doing this work, I realize and I've accepted that I have this gift. I'm trying to understand why me. That's why I've done other experiments. I replicated that experiment in 1977 with the cancer cells. I did a study at Washington and Howard University in Washington, D.C., where they had me work on 9 people and monitored me for 6 months, and I helped 8 out of 9 people. Institute of Medical Sciences, Stanford Research Institute, Langley Porter Medical Center. I've constantly subjected myself to medical and scientific investigation. Presently, I'm talking with some people at the NIH, National Institute of Health, to try to work on a project for AIDS and for cancer right now. But I'm doing all these experiments to try to understand. You know, my cancer experiment was published for the Cancer News Journal and Medical Tribune. So there's been a number of papers that have been published about these experiments that I've done.
Talk about NIH, I think the Pentagon would want to talk to you. But you describe it as a gift, but in the book, start trying to teach people how to do this. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, can we do this ourselves? More with Dean Kraft. Stay with us.
I had very bad sciatica for about 1.5 years. I was basically in tears most of the time, and my quality of life was nil. Then I went to see Dean, and I remember thinking, well, is this going to work? And after one session with him, I was healed forever and ever.
Welcome back. I'm continuing my conversation with Dean Kraft, author of A Touch of Hope, the autobiography of a laying on of hands healer. Okay, I'm a good guinea pig. I'm an excellent guinea pig. Dean has said he wants to give this a try, so we're ready to do this. Lower back pain.
Lower back
I've
pain.
had it since I was a child.
Great. Okay. You can sit right up here. That's perfect.
All right.
Okay, I'll move this around here. Great. Here we go.
Oh, my. That's the spot. It's like one of those little vibrators. You know, you've got the little vibration going there.
And the interesting is, like, it feels like I'm shaking, but my hands don't shake.
No, I don't know about that. You got there's a palsy going on there. So tell me, can you tell me why you're doing this? Things that people can learn from your book that you actually suggest you can teach.
Well, I teach people how to take away their own headaches, their own backaches, just through certain meditation, guided imagery. Even people who have certain like lesions. I had benign cysts in my nose. I visualize them every evening. You bathe them in white light, and I visualize them getting smaller in my mind. And basically, the book teaches people how to search for the healer within themselves. They don't always have to go out to get their own body catalysted when they can't get help by the doctors.
Now, what do you, when you talk about creative visualization, we've heard about this now for actually a decade or so, where people actually visualize a tumor, visualize it reducing. You know, there's no way to really catalog something like that and prove that visualization is bringing this about.
But there are people every day that are doing visualization and helping themselves with backaches, with headaches, with menstrual cramps. And this is what our book tries to do, is try to bring people to a place, teach them how to do it step by step, where it works. You know, of course, what people like are the main miracles, the things that I've done with ALS and with cancer. I had a 22-year-old woman in Texas, and basically what she did, she came to me 22 years ago with ovarian cancer that went to the liver, to her kidneys, to her stomach, and she's alive and well today. She even had an exploratory, and they couldn't find any trace of cancer in her body.
All right, you actually do this with a lot of people. Sylvester Stallone, you worked with Lucille Ball.
Ethel Merman, Sylvester Stallone is right, and John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Van Johnson, Ann Miller, many people, you know, also and celebrities throughout the world.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, while you're doing this, we're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, a doctor that believes what Dean is up to and another that disputes it. We'll talk about that. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Dean Kraft continued to work on me during the break, and I told him I'm going to have to get back with him on this and see how it feels over time now. A little bit like magic fingers. All right, well, joining us now from Jacksonville, Florida is Dr. Marcy Goldstein. Dr. Goldstein has known Dean for almost 20 years and says his life has been changed dramatically by Dean's ability. How did the two of you become friends?
Oh, I met him in Miami because I was interested in energy medicine, and I'd heard that there was this young fellow who was doing some work. And so I brought my wife and nephew to see him, and they were helped. Their conditions weren't serious, but we became friends, and I've been watching him ever since. And
all right, so your feeling about the validity of his work?
Oh, it took me about 4 years of watching him and watching the patients that he was treating to believe that this wasn't just spontaneous remission after spontaneous remission after spontaneous remission. It became a consistent response that people have. I mean, in patients who I knew, who I treated, who I've seen, who were paralyzed, got up and walked. Some young children who had total flaccid lower extremities and were unable to move at all. In 3-4 months of treatment, were up walking around. So, you know, I see that, and I said, I don't have the slightest idea why this is happening, but I saw it.
That's it for this edition of the Crier Report. Thanks to all of my guests. Thanks for watching.